For this we go, as usual, to Philip J. Berg, who started this entire movement before various opportunists came in to try to capitalize on it and promote themselves. Berg is the one fighting the battle of principle and doing it under difficult conditions. So we go to Philadelphia now and hear from Philip J. Berg. Welcome, Phil.
My pleasure. How are you doing today?
Fine, Phil. What's new on the constitutional defense front?
Well, it looks like my issue, I hope not, but might become very, very important to everyone in this country if the Democrats shove through this health care bill, because then the impetus is going to be to us, because my position is that he is a imposter, he's a usurper, he's illegally in office, and therefore that everything that he does is illegal, therefore void or voidable. So they're playing all kinds of games in Congress right now. I think it's a total disgrace what's going on, and I'm going to do everything in my power to continue our movement. Now, we're working up to, and you know about it, our march, but I have to talk to you later. We haven't firmed up a date yet because we have to get permits. And,
right.
But we're going to have a birth certificate eligibility march on Washington. And from the initial reaction that I've received from people all around this country, from Michigan, from Indiana, from California, from Arizona, from Florida, even a gentleman called me 2 days ago from Massachusetts. He says, I'm handicapped, but I'm coming. I think this could be turned out to be one of the largest marches ever in Washington, because this issue, if you think about it, I mean, you know, but this issue crosses all political lines. It crosses all racial lines, ethnic lines, and everything, because to me, the reason I'm doing this is there's nothing more important than our U.S. Constitution. And we're in a big danger in this country when we see in my opinion, the shenanigans going on, which really is not right. I mean, now they're thinking if they don't have enough votes, they're going to pass this health care bill, the medical bill, without voting on it. So,
right, deem and pass.
I'm sorry?
They call it deem and pass, or demon pass, it's sometimes called. They don't vote on the bill. They vote on the rule that said we passed it already, even though they didn't.
Right, and even though they say it has done this in the past for, other reasons, other situations, we're talking about something here that has, according to everyone, like 1/6 of the economy. And this is really major. They're saying it was done before, but it was never done on, like, major things like Social Security and Medicare. And no one even knows the true figures on this. I'm just mentioning on this before I get back to my issue, because they're just projection figures. They say how much they're going to save, and there's all kinds of things in here that are forcing people to have insurance. And if you don't, the government's going to really take the money from you, and if not, you're going to jail. I mean,
right.
That's not the United States of America that I know and I grew up with, and I think it's a disgrace what's going on. Now, the reason I'm doing this, people keep saying I'm doing my issue because they keep saying it's a right-wing conspiracy. Well, as you know, I blow that thought process because I'm a lifelong Democrat, and I'm still a Democrat, and I'm appalled. I'm appalled at the games that these people are playing. It's really absurd, and that's why for all your listeners out there, you have to stick with me. What I'm doing here is I am promoting that we should enforce the U.S. Constitution, and we should enforce the U.S. Constitution the way our founders wrote it, and that is the Constitution for president. You must be 35 years of age, lived here in this country 14 years, and been natural born. Well, Obama is not natural born. If he was natural born, we would have seen a valid, legitimate, long-form birth certificate a long time ago. But since then, he spent over $1.6 million, I think it's close to $2 million, fighting my lawsuits and all the other lawsuits out there. You don't spend that kind of money just trying to hide something. The trip he just canceled, he was going to go visit Indonesia. And they talk about, and everyone talks how his name was Barry. Yeah, his name was Barry there. You know why? His name is still Barry. I believe we have in his book, he talks about his stepfather, Lolo Sotoro, returning to Indonesia before his mother and he. And his name, we have the school record on my website. My website is obamacrimes.com. And people say, what crime? I said, how many crimes do I have to tell you that Obama has pulled off? It's crime after crime after crime. But he is a usurper. He's a phony. It's the biggest fraud against the United States of America in over 230 years. And really, people should go to jail on this. I mean, this is really outrageous. And you can see what he's doing. The only reason he wants this bill through, he wants something with his name on it. I mean, sure, there's certain things we need for reform, but not what they're trying to show. No one even knows what's in this bill. No one knows the secrets of things. No one knows what they're going to try to take out in the Senate reconciliation thing. I mean, this is not how you do something major. But they're talking about over in Indonesia. Well, his name, we have the school record. His name is Barry Sotoro, and his nationality is Indonesia, and his religion is Islam. If he hasn't legally changed his name since then, everyone, his name is Barry Sotoro. So every time he signed to run for president under Barack Hussein Obama, that was fraud. You know, people out there fraud. People go to jail for fraud. And he is a phony. And I have a lawsuit pending in the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals under false claims or quitem. I state that Obama is not only not natural born, he's not naturalized, he's an illegal alien, and therefore his term as the United States Senator was fraudulent. Therefore, the salary and benefits he received, totaling about $1 million, should be returned to the U.S. Treasury. The court below threw us out, but I have raised the point, and I've raised a major issue of what conflict of interest. If in this case there's no conflict of interest, then we should take that word out of our legal dictionaries, because Eric Holder is the one ultimately making the decision here with his underlings at the Department of Justice and the Attorney General's office. Well, Eric Holder, number one, was on the Obama's senior member of his campaign staff. Number two, he was one of three individuals who was on a committee to select the vice president, and who did nominate and select Vice President Biden. And number three, he was nominated and confirmed as the Attorney General of the United States, which is the highest law enforcement officer who reports to the president. So if that's not a conflict of interest, I don't know what it is, because they're the ones who made the decision to dismiss my case. Because the judge said, believe it or not, the judge said in the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals has told the district court justices that they have no input whatsoever on False Claims Act cases or quitem. Now, it's not just for this case. They're saying in all those cases, it's usually used in Medicare or Medicaid fraud cases. But they disagree completely with the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in California, who says the judges should have input. And I submit to all your listeners out there, how can you have a statute which provides for a hearing before a federal judge and the judge to have no input? I mean, it just doesn't even make sense. Even I'll bet a third grader would agree with that. So we're trying hard on there, but I think that's not the way. I think we're going to have to get the public together. So when the date comes out, I'm going to ask your listeners to really spread the word. I'd like to see 1 million or 2 million people in Washington with a copy of their birth certificate, which we would all hold up at a certain point in time, and demand that Obama prove that he's constitutionally eligible to be president. If not, demand that he resign. And if we get that kind of crowd, which I think we will, because there's something like 1/3 of the country is located within 3 or 4 hours of Washington. So everyone, please do this. Go to obamacrimes.com and stay with us.
obamacrimes.com. We thank you, Phil, and we'll be waiting for that date. We're going to save the date as soon as you tell us, and we'll look into this issue of the permit, and we'll see you again next week.